Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. My name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on Amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you.
Вы смотрите программу Ushanka Show.
So some time ago, I recorded the video 10 Happiest Moments of My Soviet Childhood, which is video number 175. And quite a few viewers requested part 2 to have more stories about my happy moments, but now not my childhood but my youth, so some of them will be PG-13. So when I started putting together my new list now when I was a teenager, kind of made me sad because, this is different happy moments. I lost my innocence. I kind of miss those days when you were, playing with the girls sometimes. I wasn't playing a lot with the girls because girls were stupid. But you talk to a female and you don't wonder what kind of noises she makes in the bedroom when she's having fun, or what shape are her nipples. Those were beautiful innocent days, and now we're talking about different happy moments. Okay, here we go. So the happiest moments of my Soviet youth. And some of it was already after collapse of the Soviet Union, but we're just gonna bundle them all together.
Номер один.
Number 1, the most romantic dance in my life. So this happened in 1987, so I was 16, I was in the 9th grade, and it happened at the birthday party. So in Soviet Union, kids, when they had their birthday parties, usually, parents will cook some food. We may even have some alcohol. Sometimes not, depending on the parents, of course. But then, you invite your friends, and then you just get together. You bring some presents, then you sit at the table, have food. Nothing that impressive. But this birthday was different. So we had a girl in our class, and she left after 8th grade. So I already told you guys that we went to school, and same kids stayed in the same class till the 8th grade. And at the 8th grade, we kind of separated. So the kids that weren't smart or didn't want to study anymore, they left school after 8 years. And then smartest ones will continue into the 9th and the 10th grade. So this girl, she left at the 8th grade and she went to PTU, professional technical college, to learn some profession. So her college was all girls, so maybe there was something about making clothing or something like that. But she was still dating a guy from my class, so that's why she invited, of course, him, her boyfriend, and his friends, and then she invited girls from her college. That was an unusual birthday party because we met brand new girls that we never met before. So one girl, she was so beautiful. She looked, to me at least, like a model. She had nice makeup. I remember dark hair, everything. It's just, she took my breath away. I believe this birthday girl parents were gone, so they helped to set up food and stuff and left. So we had an apartment to ourselves, which was pretty cool. And I was at that time, man, I was so shy, so nerdy. So we finished eating, had some drinks. I don't recall, I think we had some alcohol, maybe some champagne. And then, we started playing music and doing dancing. That year, one of the very popular bands, and they were probably from Western Europe, maybe from Germany, was a band called Silent Circle. I don't know if any one of you recall that band. It was a good disco music, pretty much, good dancing music, but also they had nice slow hits, slow music. So there was this song called Dreams, and I hope I will be able to find it on YouTube. And I got brave, and I invited that pretty girl to dance. So that was the most romantic dance for me. She didn't care much about me, but holding her in my arms, and the song Dreams, it was just so intoxicating. It was just amazing. I smelled her perfume. I looked at her pretty face. I felt her body in my arms, and that was the most romantic. I was so happy. Later, things got even more interesting. We started playing this bottle game, which is you spin the empty bottle, and it points at two people, boy and a girl, and you go to the different room and kiss. And I was holding my breath, hoping that bottle will point at her and me, but it pointed at a different girl. And actually, that was the first time I had my first kiss, like real kiss. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I was already 16 at that time, but it was the wrong girl, unfortunately. But that dance, that was a very, very happy dance, happy moment for me. And for years, every time I would hear that Silent Circle Dream song, I'll get all mellow and all sad.
Номер 2.
Number 2, my very first flight on a plane. It happened, I believe, like 92 or 93, so I was already like 21 or 22, and it's the first time I ever flew on a plane. How about that? It was a flight from Kiev to Frankfurt in Germany, and that flight was just amazing. First time ever, just all that experience, and then of course arriving to Germany and being in this foreign country for the very first time in my life. Everything felt unreal. If you guys read my book about arriving to America, it was exactly similar feeling. Just you felt like it's unreal reality. It was really amazing. And I remember at the end of the day when we finally settled down, I remember laying we were sleeping on the floor, and I was like whispered, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe we are in Germany." So that was amazing experience. It was a very happy day from flight, and then arriving to Frankfurt, and then we drove on the German Autobahn to Essen, and everything was just so cool.
Номер 3.
Number 3. It's a happy moment, but it's a sad story. So one of my friends, close friends, had a younger sister who was very pretty, Natasha, and slowly but surely I developed a crush on her. And one time I got brave. I was very shy and very nerdy, and asked for a date. And she kind of said maybe. She didn't say no, but didn't say yes. Sounded like maybe. And that was happened right before I was heading out to Poland on my very first trip, when we smuggled vodka from Kiev to Poland. So it's after the collapse of the Soviet Union. But that trip, when I was on a train, it's overnight train from Kiev, then you go through Brest in Belarus and then to Warsaw. That night when I was laying on the bunk bed on the train, and I was thinking about Natasha and picturing us, going on dates and going to movies, I felt so happy. Unfortunately, things didn't work out, but I was very happy camper on that trip, besides, traveling to Poland, but most overpowering was that she didn't say no, so we're probably gonna start dating. Yep. So that was a happy but sad moment.
Номер 4.
Number 4, my very first letter from abroad. So this is probably 1989, 1990, just by the end of the Soviet Union. And I already started working on my English. I mean, I studied English in school, but I started again studying on my own. And I finished school in 1988. So we had this one magazine called Rovesnik. So that was like a teenager magazine. And they started publishing addresses of different foreigners, like, youth from different countries that would like to correspond. So I was sending dozens of letters all over the world. And one day, I still remember, it was a rainy day. I was heading out somewhere, but I stopped on the way to check the mailbox, and there was a interesting, unusual looking letter envelope from South Korea. I believe the girl's name was Min Hwa, and there was so much excitement. First letter from other country, and that started my mailbox fever for years. I got more and more pen friends from all over the world, so that opening the mailbox and searching in it for the letters, it became my obsession. But that day when I got that very first letter from South Korea was an amazing, happy moment.
Номер 5.
Number 5. There's another happy, sad story, or more like pathetic story. So one time when we were heading back home after summer vacation, and I mentioned many times I spent pretty much every summer with my grandparents in the village, and then usually my parents will come for vacation in August, and then they pick me up on the way, so we're going back to Kiev. Summer vacation is over. And the second leg of the trip was to get on the bus from Shors, now it's called Snovsk, small town in northern Ukraine. So we take a bus there, and then we ride it all the way to Kiev. And that actually reminds me of this argument. I have some people arguing with me what is better, public transportation and having private transportation. So this example, like how painful was traveling in the Soviet Union. So going back from the village, we had to take very first bus, which was going through the village, and that was about so 6 a.m. It's when we need to get on the bus in downtown in our village. So you need to get up at 5, then you walk 2 kilometers to the bus stop carrying heavy bags. Then you ride a bus for about an hour, 30 kilometers. Then you need to run into the bus station, purchase a ticket, and then you wait till 9 a.m. I believe that's when our bus was heading out to Kiev, the other bus. So this bus station is abandoned right now. It was slowly dying over the years, but back in the 80s, it was a busy place from early morning to late evening. So while we were waiting for our bus, I noticed this very pretty girl also waiting for her bus. And, you could tell by her clothing that she was city girl. So I just saw her that she was so pretty, and I had this kind of dream. I hope she rides with us on the bus, and it would be awesome if she would sit right next to me. Just those kind of teenager silly dreams. So it was 3 of us, right? My father, my mother, and me at that time. So that was before 1986 when my brother was born. So when you buy 3 tickets, you have 2 spots next to each other, and one will be separately. So I end up sitting separately from my parents, behind. So I'm sitting next to the empty seat, and I see this pretty girl hopping on the bus. I was like, oh wow, she's actually going to be on the bus with us. So I'm watching her, and she is walking with her ticket in her hand. And then I realized that there's a chance she's going to sit right next to me. So I got all so happy, so thrilled. And sure enough, it was her spot right next to me. And I was so happy till I realized what I'm going to do next. And I don't do anything. I was just quiet as a church mouse all the way to Kiev. Actually, I was so nervous for whatever reason that I managed to fall asleep on the bus. I usually never fall asleep on the bus, but here I was so uncomfortable because I have this super pretty girl sitting next to me, and I don't know what to do, how to start conversation. So I literally passed out, just closed my eyes, and then I fell asleep. And it's kind of funny that the conversation started actually by her because my mother needed something, so she asked the girl to wake me up because she needed to tell me something. So she tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, your mom wants to talk to you. So that was all our conversation. But that moment when she was approaching me, that was a very happy moment.
Номер 6.
Number 6. This was another happy moment that turned to be not that happy later. And this is a weird one. So Casey Kasem Top 40. I hope I said it right. So this is probably early 90s. So they started playing Casey Kasem's Top 40 on the radio. And that was a radio station from Moscow, Mayak. And besides playing top hits from United States, I don't know, at that time, Bon Jovi, I can't remember other performers, but they also were telling, hey, send us a question about music, and if we answer your question on the radio, we'll send you a special t-shirt, Casey Kasem's Top 40 t-shirt, and it's so special you can't buy it anywhere, even in Hollywood. I remember them talking with this in Russian, but with that strong accent. Вы можете нигде не купить, даже в Голливуде. So that was kind of this thing to invite people to write letters with questions. So guess what? I did come up with a good question, and I sent something about Bon Jovi. It's like, is there any other hits that John Bon Jovi had before? Something like that. I don't remember exactly what the question. Something relates to John Bon Jovi. I sent the letter, and then one time I'm listening this program. I guess it was on the weekend, maybe Sunday, and suddenly this guy announces, and right now we have a question from Sergey from Kiev, and he's asking, and oh my God, I was jumping, I was yelling, I was screaming, because besides it's so cool to hear my name on this, this popular radio station, this popular program, that means they're gonna send me a t-shirt. That's special, cool Casey Kasem Top 40 t-shirt. And guess what? They never sent the t-shirt. I never got the t-shirt. I was so upset. I may wrote them another letter complaining about it. But maybe they sent it, but they got stolen. But yep, I never got the t-shirt. But that moment when they announced my question, that was very, very happy moment.
Номер 7.
Number 7. This is kind of interesting because this was the very first time I actually experienced America, although it happened in Moscow. So we're talking again 91, 92, somewhere there, maybe 93. So I went to Moscow with my friend, and we stayed with American family. And I believe he was an American professor teaching in some of the Moscow colleges. And they have a nice apartment, and I mean nice, it had 2 bathrooms. It's the first time ever in my life I saw an apartment that had 2 bathrooms. It was so cool. But also, they had a side-by-side refrigerator in the kitchen. Now, that was the very first time I saw such a insane thing, to have a refrigerator with 2 doors. I mean, I grew up, we had a little tiny refrigerator at Dnieper. My parents bought it the same year that I was born in 1971, and we still had the same fridge 20 years later. In fact, we still have that refrigerator. It's actually like a backup fridge, but we still have it in our apartment. So when I saw that side-by-side refrigerator, it looked so huge. And when we opened both doors, it's like you open gates to heaven. We see all these foreign foods, because at that time, I think they already had a very first supermarket in Moscow. Some Finnish company opened the first supermarket. So there was all this foreign, cool-looking foods. And then I saw a giant tub, it looked giant to me, of ice cream. And I was so shocked that people actually keep ice cream in the tub in the freezer for themselves. So that was generally just an amazing experience of like getting a little taste of America. And then of course I noticed that they buy water. So that was another shock. Like, why would you waste money to buy water if you can get water from the sink? But yeah, that was interesting food. And that fridge, I still remember first time when I opened both doors simultaneously, it was like, hallelujah. That was very cool.
Номер 8.
Number 8. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping. There's no timeline, so I'm like back and forth. Early 90s, late 90s. This has actually happened in 1996 or 1995. So I already went to America first time, came back to Kiev, was finishing my college. I actually worked on my diploma, and meanwhile also worked as a guard. There was an office downtown Kiev, and my job was be there for 24 hours, then 3 days off, then another 24-hour shift. He basically kind of like opened the door for the visitors, and you have this pepper spray, camo pants, and the rubber stick. I didn't really need the money, but I just was bored, and I think they were paying like $100 a month to do the job. And as I said, I was writing my diploma that time, so that was great because I had plenty of time. You kind of at work, but you have plenty of free time to work on your diploma. So they had a secretary girl there, Inna, and she was so pretty. Like, looked like a model once again. Really tall, long legs, just pretty face, beautiful eyes. And like I was even scared to talk to her because she was so pretty. Anyways, I even didn't like hope to ask her out or anything like that. She was just definitely out of my league. But then one time it was late evening. There was a knock on the door, and there was a boss, this company owner, with a bunch of co-workers, including Inna. They were having some kind of party. Everyone was drunk, and he ran out of money, so he stopped at the office to grab some more cash. And then they just started hanging out, drinking more, and I just went back to the kitchen. That's what I usually said. And then suddenly Inna showed up in the door, and she was drunk too, and she just started talking to me and acting silly. And then she just approached me and kind of like, hey, would you like to come to my place sometimes and hang out? So she asked me out, and I was so unexpectedly, it was so unexpected, and I was so thrilled, so happy. I actually like got brave, and I hugged her and said, of course, they'll be more than happy to visit hanging out. So this is my PG-13 memories. I mean, we started dating, didn't date for a long time because she was smoking, and I couldn't date a smoker. It was like kissing an ashtray. But that moment when she barged in the kitchen and just started being goofy and then asked me out, that was amazing.
Номер 9.
Number 9. This is actually kind of goofy one. So once again, it's like early 90s, maybe late 80s. But we started getting some LPs. Remember LPs, long plays? Foreign LPs. So like Peter Gabriel started. They were making them still in Soviet Union by Melodia, but they started selling foreign performers. And one time I stopped at the Univermag Ukraina, so it's like a major department store downtown Kiev. And at that time you just done with college, you just swing by, walk through, check what's new in the music department, because you never know. If something good will show up, it will disappear pretty quick. So one time I stopped there. So they have a special department where they sold LPs only. And I see this strange long play. Never heard of this band called Milli Vanilli. But it looked cool. And at that time, I was getting stipend 50 rubles a month, and LP was like 350. So I was like, okay, I'll buy it. Looks like American band. And so I bought that LP. And I know a lot of you will be chuckling, because I know in America that people like Milli Vanilli has a bad rap. But anyways, I fell in love with that band, not like with the performance, of course, but their music, and especially the song "Girl, You Know It's True," right? And I was liking it so much that you just want to play it over and over again, right? But I made a conscious decision, like, okay, I don't want to get sick or tired of that song quick. So I made the rule that I'm only gonna play it once a week, 3 times on Saturdays. So after I'm done with my college, I'll come home, and at that time my brother liked to dance with me. I'm just like Napoleon Dynamite sometimes. I like to dance, and I had big speakers anyways. So that was my plan, and I made that song last for a long time. Maybe I was Friday, because I'll be on the way from college, tired, spending all day sitting at the desk learning something. And then I'm on the bus on the way home, and suddenly I remember, dude, today is Friday. You can play Milli Vanilli, Girl, You Know It's True. And I'm already getting all happy and excited on the bus. Come home, turn the volume up, put LP, and just having a good old time. Played that song 3 times, danced like crazy with my little brother, and then like, okay, now we have to stop, and we'll play it again next Friday. So, but that was a happy Fridays, coming home from college and just counting minutes till I can put that Girl, You Know It's True song.
Номер 10.
Number 10. And here's another goofy, happy moment. So before I started corresponding with the girls from the other countries, I corresponded with some people here in the Soviet Union, and I was corresponding with one girl from Ukraine, actually, from Eastern Ukraine, that right now actually had a war going. Her name was also Natasha, one of the popular names. And so we were corresponding, and slowly kind of our correspondence grew in something more than just friendship. But we only exchanged pictures, and she sent me only black and white photos. She was quite pretty. But only later on I found out she actually was a redhead, but you can't see it on the black and white photos, right? And I'm not a big fan of redheads. But one time she sent me a letter, and inside, besides the letter, she had a picture of her, really cool photo, really pretty picture, and she sprayed some of her perfume on that photo. So when I opened the envelope and I was holding that picture in my hand, I look at her eyes on that photo and I smelled that perfume, and oh man, she really did a number on me there. I was like instantly falling in love and being happy, silly. That was a great moment. Nothing happened between us. We never met. Actually, one time we had a chance to meet in Kiev. She was on a train going through Kiev, but I wasn't out in the village. She sent me a letter. The letter was late. I got the letter on the day when her train was in Kiev, so we never met. But that moment when I took that photo out of the envelope and I saw her pretty face and I smelled her perfume, that was a happy moment. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this 10 happy moments of my youth video. As always, post your comments, share with your friends, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet Union.